Well, hello, everyone. We're late, but we're here. Sorry for the delay. So pleased to introduce our second virtual meeting presentation. First, I want to thank our own Bob Delameda for setting up this wonderful program for you this evening. Bob is the man behind the scenes. Thank you, Bob. I also want to welcome Jerry Minnick to you. He is a member of the APCUG Speakers Bureau and a frequent presenter for their virtual technology conferences. Jerry has quite a background, and I urge you to take the time to read his bio that was sent to you by email. His topic this evening is password managers, which in this day and age is a very important topic. So I know we're late, so without further ado, here's Jerry.
Thank you, Diane, and thank you, Bob, for getting us connected. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Like Diane said, I'm at my summer home, which is up in Lincoln, Michigan. We're about 75 miles north of where all the flooding is going on. And today it was especially warm and reminded me of my home in Leesburg, Florida. I'm glad to be here tonight. And I want to talk to you about password managers. I've been using a password manager for about 5 years now. My summer home, I like it. And if you have any questions or you'd like a copy of my presentation, my email address for APCUG is jerryminnick@apcug.org. Send me an email. Let me know what presentation you'd like to see, and I will send it to you. But it's available with Bob and Diane. If you have any questions, please email me. I'll answer your questions. Now, be aware that one of the answers might be, I don't know, but I will answer your questions. And again, I'm available anytime. I'm on the internet every day. So I updated this presentation just the other day, and let's get started. What are we going to cover? Why do I need a password manager? How a password manager works? How safe are they? How to choose one? Free versus let's pay for? How do I choose a password manager? And can I use one on multiple platforms? Now, I understand that Bob also uses a password manager, and he uses the same one that I have been using for at least 5 years. Remember now, I'm 78 years old, and I suffer from CRS. So that's why I said maybe it's 5 years. It could be longer. Password managers are popular with people who want to keep their passwords safe, and people who do not use weak passwords like 123456 or your password is incorrect. And password managers can do that for you. Password managers basically all operate the same way. They store your login information. And your login information usually requires some kind of user ID and some kind of password. User IDs are not requiring uppercase, lowercase, so they're not case sensitive. Passwords are. So what does a password manager do? It takes this information, if you stored it once, and it will automatically put it to the website login page, and you don't have to do anything except go to that web page. Then your password manager takes over, puts in the user ID, the password, and most of them will automatically enter you. I have my password manager stop right there, and then I hit the enter key and I get into the web page. Password managers are usually an app that stores your passwords on various online accounts. Now, Joyce and I are in our late 70s, and we have one password manager and one account. And the reason for that is if something happens to me, then Joyce has access to all my websites and she can go in and close them down or whatever. And the same thing, vice versa. That's nice about a password manager. Now, Joyce also likes to have a little booklet, and she writes passwords into her little booklet. But I put them into our password manager, and they're saved in a protective vault. The password manager I use is in the cloud. So in order to get to my passwords, I must have access to the internet. But again, experts will tell you it's better than using the same password over and over, writing them down, etc. They're safe. They're more secure than the alternatives. And they're protected with strong encryption, AES 256. (256) means the number of bits is equal to the number of characters that's available in that encryption standard. And I'm going to try to explain this encryption and handshaking that goes on between you and your password manager and a website so that you can understand exactly what's happening in the background very quickly, by the way. Most password manager programs do not have access to your passwords, nor do they have access to your main password that you use to open up your password manager. And you have to be careful about that main password. So how do we choose one? What's the best password manager? Well, I always say use the password manager that you like. Use the browser that you like. Use the search engine that you like. And so I don't have any guidance that's any better than that. I like the password manager I'm using. The president of the Lake Sumter Computer Society, of which I'm a member in Leesburg, he likes KeePass as a password manager. And that's cool. So we always joke with each other about which is best, KeePass or the password manager I'm using. And you have to be careful about online services because you need to have access to the internet. So I use LastPass, which is an online service password manager. And it's available to be used with any web browser. So it's an addition to my web browser. I happen to use Mozilla Firefox, and I trust them. I trust LastPass. A couple of years ago, they had some problems, and they got them straightened out. So I think they're good. So if you're going to use a password manager built into your browser, here's some pros and cons. And if you are using a password manager that's built into the browser, when you choose one, make sure that if you change browsers, it will go along with the new one.
Yeah.
But password managers built into the browser may lack the security that you're looking for, and they're open to your browser being hacked or your browser losing the information or giving the information to somebody that's not authorized. So they are easy to use if you have a password manager built into your browser, and Mozilla Firefox offers one. I don't use it. I use LastPass, which is a separate add-on. But password managers built into the browser are free. So you got some good points and you got some bad points. Now we have password managers that are a third-party app. And again, the pros and the cons. Most of them use AES 256 encryption. But you have to be careful when you're choosing one that is an app to make sure that they will work on different platforms. I use LastPass, and I'll get to explain that before we're through. LastPass is on my iPads, on my iPhones, on Joyce's iPad, on Joyce's iPhone, on both of our computers. So it's a cross-platform password manager. Now, back in the early days, we used to call it code. And now, recently, in the last 15 years or so, they've called it encryption. And encryption is taking straight communications and garbling it so that if somebody else reads it, they don't know what it is. And so they convert ordinary language into some kind of garbled code. And when you see HTTPS on a website, that means that they are secure with encryption, and the information you're sending from your computer to that website is garbled in its transmission, but each end, you and the website, has a key to turn it back into plain language code and not code. If you have encryption at AES 256, that means there's 256 bits of information that can be changed to garble that message or that information. Okay. And a fancy software program is all that AES encryption is. And so the data that you pass between you, the client, and the website on a server is not readable. And the two communicating sides must exchange information and establish a key. And the key works for encrypting and decrypting. And this is basically what it looks like. You're the client, there's a server for a website out there somewhere, and you send them some information and it says, hello. You say hello and they say, hey, how are you? And you say, let's set up a key. And you say, okay. And back and forth it goes. Let's take another look at it. This is really the kind of thing that happens in a very short amount of time. A couple seconds at most. All right. And that's what happens when you set up an encryption key with another website. You're the client, they're the website. Now, again, if you use a password manager, I suggest you go for convenience and a free trial if they are going to charge you. You also need to look at what other people are saying about this password manager. So you say in your search engine, LastPass review as an example, or KeePass review, and see what other people are saying besides LastPass and KeePass. And I'm going to show a slide in a minute or so that comes from PC Magazine and PC World, where they list the top free and top paid password managers. So look for unlimited password storage, unlimited devices. And LastPass has an audit service built into their password manager app. And what it does is it says, hey, Jerry, you got 2 passwords that are the same, or things like that, right? Also, the backup service. What happens if your password manager goes down? Or what happens if they go bankrupt? That's a consideration, right? And gee, what are you going to do when all your passwords are locked up someplace because the company went bankrupt? And also you want the password manager to save passwords as you type them. And I'll show you how that works with LastPass. And it works similarly with other password managers. Can I auto change a password? Can I import and export? Can I take a password and let the app or the password manager generate the password for me? Or can I use the password manager to generate my own password? And I say it's popular now to use a phrase. The house is red and the shutters are green, kind of thing. That's harder to break by a hacker than trying to use numbers and letters and symbols. So now you've chosen the password manager because you did a review on the internet. And it says it's going to do all the things that you want in the password manager. So you're going to have a master password. And your master password should not be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My master password for LastPass is 17 characters long, and I can remember it because it makes sense to me. One of the disadvantages of using a password like LQ *E3GU87PAQ RTC $, %, and sign is that's hard to remember. And then make sure that your password manager doesn't have a master password recovery. Be responsible for remembering the master password yourself. And that's a disadvantage. If you forget the master password.
Sorry, I can't help you with that on Apple Watch.
Oh, my Apple Watch was talking to me. I'm sorry. Yeah, my Apple Watch, it jumped up and, sorry, I can't help you with Apple Watch. So also 2-factor authentication is good. And hopefully everybody knows what two-factor authentication is. I use my phone, my cell phone, as the receiver of the two-factor authentication, and I use it extensively, and I feel safer with that. Because if somebody steals my password, somebody steals my user ID for any website, okay, especially when I'm banking on the internet, then, gee, they also have to steal my phone. So, Bob, have you heard that before? So, and the password software should be updated as we update the operating systems and we update our antivirus programs. Our manager program should also have the ability to update. Let's talk about two-factor authentication. How does it work? You log into a website. You use the username and the password comes out of your password manager. The password's validated by the website, and then they generate a neat code to your cell phone as a text message or to you as an email. If you don't have a cell phone or don't want to use your cell phone, that's fine. You get an email. Now you check your email and you get the code from the text message or email. You enter it into the two-factor authentication block that shows up on your website, and then they allow you into the website. I use that with all of my credit cards and banking. I have banking in Florida. I have banking up here in Michigan. And two-factor authentication comes in great. According to the latest survey run by PC World and PC Magazine, these are the top 5 best free password managers. And down at the bottom, you see a thing called a bit.ly. Okay, a bit.ly is a short URL, a short address to a website. So if you want to see what PC Magazine is saying about these things, you can use that bit.ly. You just click on it or type it in, and it'll take you right up to where they're saying the best password managers for free. I use bit.lys all the time in my newsletters, which are available on the APCUG website. I do a newsletter for Windows and Android and a newsletter for Apple. Tips, tricks, and hints. So if you've never been to the APCUG website, you might want to take a look at that. And the best password managers that you have to pay for. There was a time a couple of years ago when Sticky Password was giving APCUG membership people a break on the price of their password manager. But the list is a little bit longer. And again, the bit.ly at the bottom is the PC Magazine reference for the best paid password managers. I happen to pay for LastPass, and it runs me $12 a year, $1 a month. And the reason I pay for it is because that gives me the ability to have it across all the different platforms that Joyce and I own. So what do? Well, again, Google it. Now, I don't use Google anymore as my search engine. My browser is Mozilla Firefox, and my search engine is DuckDuckGo. And I like DuckDuckGo as a search engine because it doesn't let you get tracked by the websites that you go to. No tracking allowed. All right? And if you go into either one of your search engines and put in best password managers for free, best password managers paid, or best password managers for a certain system, operating system like iOS. And the list changes frequently. But the best ones will always show up on the list. I use LastPass. Like I say, it's an addition to my browser. And oh, by the way, about 2 months ago, I heard about a browser called Brave, Brave, Brave. And I said, what's so special about it? And so I reviewed it, and it says we don't allow tracking. And I said, I think I'll try that. So for 2 weeks, I used Brave. And I was able to put LastPass as an extension into the Brave browser. So that didn't change. After using Brave for about 2 weeks, I said, I still like Mozilla Firefox, and I went back. All right? And you want to make sure that, like, LastPass will work on any browser and on any operating system. It has two-factor authentication options, all right? It stores your passwords in the cloud. And it decrypts and encrypts when they're logged in. So the LastPass people who work for that organization cannot see the passwords because they don't have the master password that I have. I like that.
Yeah.
So if you go to the internet and you put in LastPass, this is their homepage. This is what it looks like. And you can log into LastPass using Facebook. And I get the premium, but when I got the premium, it was $1 a month. Now they're up to $3 a month. So I'm only paying $12 a year because I got grandfathered in. And if you go down and scroll down a little bit on the LastPass homepage, you get this. Log in and go. Simply online shopping. Generate strong passwords. Share lessly. Another thing I like about LastPass is it has a section where you can do secure notes. So when I buy a new device, I take the serial number and the model number and put it into a secure note. And therefore, when it comes time for me to report lost, stolen, or strayed digital device, I can open up LastPass, go to that secure note, pick up the phone and call the sheriff's department or the police department or Apple or Windows, Microsoft, or whoever, and I can say, yes, here's my model number and here's my serial number. And that helps. It might even get your stuff back. Scroll down a little bit further and you see that these are the people that say, this is cool, all right? And yes, even on your watch. So this is actually what the vault looks like. And I'm going to show you another picture of that. When you open up LastPass Vault, you can see across the top here, and very hard to see, but it says My LastPass Vault. And this is what it looks like. Now, they have a plan, they have a premium plan, and they have a family plan. And the family plan is because if you have people in your family and you want to share, then 6 users. And that's pretty cool. How do you get LastPass going? Well, first you download it and then you create a user ID and a master password. And then it becomes a part of your browser. This is LastPass. Now, when I go to Amazon, which I'm showing here, the first time that I log into Amazon, I got to use my email address at gmail.com, and then I got to put in my password, and then up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, it'll say, LastPass will say, do you want me to remember this? And you go, yes. And then that's the last time you have to remember it. Now, I have a little circle with a 1 inside of it. That's LastPass telling me that for Amazon, there's only one password. But you can have multiple passwords for the same site if people want to have separate accounts for the same site. To activate LastPass, I need an email address and a master password, and then the icon up in the corner of the screen turns red. This icon sitting up here. When you have logged in, it turns red. Now, of course, you can say, remember my password, but then if somebody hacks your browser, they may have access to your password. So and these screenshots are from my computer. Okay? And I don't allow that. I want to put my password in each time so that I'm the only one that knows it. And therefore, I think it's secure. There's another greeting card website. All right? And again, you see the 1s there, meaning that for this greeting card website, there is only one login that LastPass is stored away. And again, I let my email address come up, I let my password come up from LastPass, and then I click on the sign in. Or you can have them automatically, this will pop up, and you'll automatically sign in, and it'll all happen very quickly. It's very hard to trace it as it's happening. So it depends on how you set up LastPass and what you want it to do for you if you're using LastPass. I want to open my vault. So up here in the upper right-hand corner of my browser is the LastPass symbol, and it's red. And that 5 there is telling me that I have 5 passwords that are the same or very similar. Okay. Anyway, I click on that, and then I say, and I get this drop down right here, and then I say, open my vault. And of course, down here, I blocked out my email address for my account, but you can also use this to log out of LastPass and still stay on the internet. Generate a secure password, account options, add an item, all items, whatever. So anyway, I click on open my vault. When I click on open my vault in LastPass, this is what I get. And again, in all these cases, I have blocked out the email addresses that we use for these. But as you can see, I got 120 in the none category. And over here, of course, I got all sorts of different things that I can do with LastPass, and there's more options. But normally what I do is I open up LastPass and then I go up here to the search bar and I click in something like Lookout. And then it'll just bring the Lookout page up. And this is what it looks like when it comes up. And again, I blocked out my username here because these are, again, off of my computer. So musicnotes.com is what I clicked on, and it comes up with my username and my password. And of course, all passwords are the same, ... whatever. But if you want to see it, you click on the little I over here, and then it shows you what the password looks like. Notice that you can add notes. You can put this thing in the trash. You can cancel it. You can save it, etc., etc., etc. This is what a note looks like, a secure note. When I open up a secure note, this is what it looks like. And I have a 48 millimeter sports Apple Watch version, model number, and serial number. And that information is available to me any place while I'm on the internet from any device. If I come over to your house, Bob, and I'm going to use you as an example, if that's okay, and I want to look at some websites and show you some stuff, I can download LastPass into your browser. I can therefore put in my username and master password, and then I can go to the websites that I have on LastPass using your computer, and when I get through, I can take LastPass and take it off your computer. That's handy. Right? Sometimes when I go to help my daughter or my son or a close neighbor with their computer, I'll do exactly what I just described. I'll download LastPass into their computer, and then I can go to the websites without having to remember the user ID and password. Also, LastPass allows you to generate a secure password. And do you want the length of it? So you can vary how long you want it. All characters, easy to read, easy to say, uppercase, lowercase, number, whatever. And they'll show you what they're going to generate right there. Then it's stored away for that website. Fill the password. This goes into the password for that website, and you don't have to remember it. So an add item symbol, add a password, add a secure note, add an address, add a payment card, add a bank account, driver's license. LastPass gives you the ability, and many others do also, to put all kinds of information and hooks into this password manager so that it's available to your digital legacy advisor. And that's exactly what I've done. And one of my daughters is a computer educated, college educated person. I'm not too sure whether she's computer science or whatever. But anyway, she teaches coding and all that other kind of stuff. And I have made her my digital legacy advisor. And so when something happens to me, she takes over and she can get into all my accounts, and she'll have all this information available to because it's stored in my LastPass password manager. So the other thing I like about LastPass is they are good about answering your questions. And they're good about taking care of you. And so if you have a question about how do I do this or how do I do that, you come to their webpage, user manual webpage, and off you go. Very good. And that is my best on password managers and why you should use one. We started late. I finished on time. What do you say, Bob?
All right then. Well, sounded good, Jerry. That's my favorite password manager anyways.
You're using LastPass, right?
Oh, all the time.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing.
There we go.
There
All
we
right.
go.
Well,
Diane,
Yes.
any
Yes.
comments?
Oh, I think it was great. I hope you all enjoyed it. Can you hear me?
yep.
All right. I hope that everyone enjoyed it. And we sure enjoyed having you, and sorry we were late. Great performance. I learned a lot about LastPass, and I've been using it for several years.
All right. Well,
It's difficult to sit here in my position and describe 3 or 4 or 5 different password managers and how they work. Because you gotta use one before you know how it works. You can read the reviews on it. You can say, gee, this is nice, that is nice, but until you use it, you really don't know how it works. Are we finished?
okay. If everybody, if you liked what you saw tonight, give the thumbs up a click. And if you'd like to be told when there's new coming, make sure you subscribe and click on the little bell next to the subscribe button to get the latest notifications. And at that, Diane, if you'd like to say, see you later.
Okay. Well, we'll see you later. If you have any questions, you can send them to me and I can forward them, or you have the information in front of you, you can contact Jerry directly. And
Thank you very much.
Good night. Good night. Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Bye.